Hello and welcome to the Embrace Home Loans Kitchen Table, Alexandra Fortin. I should have asked you, do you like to be called Alex or Alexandra?
I love Alexandra.
Okay, and Alexandra is fun to say. It rolls off the tongue. I was excited to talk to you. I want to hear all about your story. I feel like you are one of the folks that's making the best out of this situation we're in. But let's start, let's go back to March. Take me back. You are living where?
I'm living in an apartment with a roommate who's autistic, and I'm taking care of him at night. And I'm just his live-in caregiver. And then during the day, I would either be at auditions or at a rehearsal. I was in 2 shows running that were supposed to open, and it was going to be in Midtown Manhattan at a theater called The Tank. That all got canceled. And
so disappointing.
Yeah, and then my show tour got canceled, so acting was on a halt, and then I came home to Rhode Island just before everything got really crazy.
And did your parents have to really talk you into leaving New York City, or were you okay, where's the train? I'm getting out of here.
My parents were very kind of left it up to me. They would send me texts here and there just being like, how are you? How's it going over there? And then I had one day where I went into a grocery store and I noticed that everything was missing. There was no food. And then I got a little freaked out. And then I went into a pharmacy and I overheard the pharmacist talking about how some person came in and took all of their remaining children's fever reducer. And they were talking about how awful that was because there are so many families that could come in and need that when this fever reducer was just going to expire in 2 months anyway. So the fact that someone would come in and be that fearful and take all of that children's fever reducer, I was like, okay, things are gonna get a little crazy. So I called my mom right away, and she had a train that afternoon, and I came home.
So you're here in Rhode Island. So you are, this young actress with shows going on. You're in Manhattan, also taking care of your autistic roommate. And when you got to Rhode Island, somehow you went from that to becoming an integral part of the Embrace Work From Home team, and not in any way where you're processing loans or anything like that. You are doing something really cool, and it's called Indoor Recess. So tell me how you thought of this.
So I also nanny for children in New York, and when I had come home to Rhode Island, it was a really hard separation because I went from seeing them all the time to not. So I started to just have these meetings with them and had them invite their friends. And so my mom knew that I was meeting with the kids that I nanny and their friends every week and just trying to do fun things. And then my mom had kind of asked more about it and had kind of asked, would you maybe consider doing a couple of the kids at Embrace? I'm sure they would like to join. And then my mom and I have this thing, it takes us 5 minutes, but with 5 minutes of brainstorming together, we end up making a business all the time. It always ends up being bigger than what I would have intended or imagined, but when we get going, it's it doesn't stop. So before I knew it, she had me inundated with all of these Embrace kids. And at first I was a little apprehensive because it's really hard to work with a lot of kids online at once. But we're all just so thirsty to connect and have fun together that it's actually been pretty easy and rewarding. And yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. So I should add that your mom is Dana Fortin, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Embrace. And I think that that's an awesome story, that when you have an idea, she makes it so much bigger and into a business. That makes me laugh. And that's really cool that you were brainstorming like this. And I think that one struggle, I'm blessed that my kids are a little bit older. They're all teenagers in high school and one in college. So I'm not having to watch them all day when I'm also working from home, because what's happening now, like, we're not just working from home. First of all, everyone's dealing with the anxiety and stress of the pandemic. People are having to not only just take care of little kids and make sure they're okay, but then also facilitate all the school stuff. So I think as a business, and Embrace in the mortgage business, we're lucky that we're just very, very busy right now, and people have to be focused on work. So I think it was so awesome we're able to offer this benefit to our employees. But tell me, like, what you do with the kids when you get together, and how many times a day I want to know more about it, because I don't have little kids, so I've missed out.
Yeah. So I've put them all into different groups, mainly by age. So the really, really young ones, I usually read them stories, and we all meet once a week. Every session gets one recess a week. That way I can tackle a lot of different children. I don't know how many kids I have right now. I have all their names written down. And so I usually, we sing some songs with the little kids. We read stories. We try to make up our own stories. And then I have the 6 and 7-year-olds, and we do a lot of crafts, a lot of craft making. Last week we made our own Play-Doh. And
cool.
Yeah. I also have friends, colleagues in Manhattan and in Connecticut who are just artists and so creative, and so sometimes I collaborate with them and have a guest come on, and so the kids don't just see my face, but they see this other cool adult person wanting to have fun with them. And then we sing a lot of music for the kids that are willing to share. I just got off a Zoom call, and there are these 2 twins. They're so sweet, and they are, I think they're 8 or 9, and I had found out that they sang, and so I asked them if they would be willing to sing for everyone in their session, and they were so brave and came on and sang a whole song, and then all the other children were able to give them positive feedback, and then talk about what they like to do, what their talents are. Each group is very kind of specific and concentrated. I noticed that we all kind of find our common interests and then try to work with that. So I have one Zoom on a Friday where all the girls are really, really thankfully interested in acting. And so I was like, okay, so this indoor recess is going to strictly be an acting class. And so we're going to make this an acting class, and they have their monologues and
awesome
dialogue together and stuff like that. And then a lot of the boys really like Legos. So, okay, so this recess session is strictly Legos, and then the boys feel comfortable coming on and doing Legos. So it just varies on the group and what their interests are.
That is so cool. And now, how are your friends back in New York City faring? I'm sure you talk to a lot of people all the time.
Yeah, it's a little sad and scary. I know a lot of them were lucky and got out soon enough, like I did. But otherwise, they're just hanging in. They're on unemployment. They're not able to work. So I feel very fortunate and grateful to Embrace Home Loans for letting me do this, because not only am I working, and not only do I not have to be on unemployment, but I'm able to bring in my acting and creativity, and kind of be creative during my day stuck inside. So
yeah,
I think that's an ideal situation. Yeah.
I love it. And what about your roommate? Is someone taking care of him?
Yes, yeah. Yes, he is in quarantine with his parents. He's doing well, thank you.
Good. Oh,
yeah.
Good. All right, great. Okay, and then what we're asking everybody that comes on the kitchen table question is if they have been binging any TV shows during the quarantine?
Oh, okay. Yes. Little Fires Everywhere.
I haven't started that yet, but I read the book. I need to watch it.
Oh, did you hear recently about that actress? Sorry, that got stabbed. That Reese.
Witherspoon?
No, with a knife. Okay, I'm sorry, but that
was not rehearsed.
I've been trying. Wacko. It's about the WACO. It's about the cult leader guy.
Oh, yeah, in Texas? Okay, I have not watched that yet, but I would like to. All right, good stuff. Well, Alexandra, I think you're awesome. Thank you so much for doing this with me.